Have you ever looked around and wondered why life seems so unfair? Why the people who cheat, lie, and manipulate often end up richer, more powerful, and more respected than those who play by the rules? It's a brutal reality that most people are too afraid to admit. Being good doesn't guarantee success. In fact, sometimes it does the exact opposite. Today, we're going to uncover the hidden truths about why bad people succeed, why good people often fail, and what Darwin's theory of survival can teach us about navigating this ruthless world. You've probably been told your entire life that honesty, kindness, and patience are the keys to success. That if you just work hard enough, people will recognize your efforts. But here's the painful truth. The world doesn't always reward good behavior. It rewards effectiveness. And sometimes, the most effective people are the ones who aren't afraid to break the rules. In this video, we're not going to glorify being ruthless. We're going to understand why it works and how you can protect yourself, adapt smarter, and maybe even beat them at their own game. Because the truth is, if you don't understand how the game is really played, you'll keep losing without even knowing why. Ready? Let's dive in. The world doesn't reward effort. It rewards outcomes. It rewards results. It rewards those who can show something tangible, something visible, something undeniable. From the earliest moments in school, we are conditioned to believe that trying our best is enough. Gold stars, participation trophies, words of encouragement for simply giving it a shot. All of these teach us a dangerous half-truth, that effort itself is a currency. But effort in the real world has no value unless it produces something others want. You don't get paid for how many hours you work. You get paid for the value you create. You don't gain influence by being the nicest person in the room. You gain influence by being the one people can't ignore. And you don't win by being good. You win by being effective. The majority of good people make a fatal mistake. They assume that morality alone gives them an advantage. They think that fairness is built into the system, that the world will recognize their honesty and eventually reward it. But life is not a courtroom where fairness is guaranteed. Life is an arena where only those who fight smart survive. Imagine two people in the same company. One works tirelessly, follows every rule, helps everyone, never causes problems. The other cuts corners, takes credit when possible, manipulates perception to look more important. Guess who's more likely to get promoted? It's ugly. It's frustrating. But it's real. The bad person understands the game better. They know that perception beats reality, that being seen as valuable is often more important than being valuable. Meanwhile, the good person keeps their head down, trusting that someone will notice their hard work someday. But in a noisy world, silence is the same as invisibility. And when promotions are handed out, when leadership opportunities arise, it's not the quiet worker who gets called. It's the one who has positioned themselves, however ruthlessly, as impossible to overlook. This pattern isn't limited to corporate life. It's everywhere. In politics, the loudest voice often wins, not the wisest. In media, the most controversial figure dominates attention, not the most honest one. In personal relationships, confidence often triumphs over genuine connection. The people who succeed are not necessarily the most deserving. They're often the most daring. The ones who are willing to push the limits, to challenge expectations, to demand attention. And here's a deeper truth. Many of the most successful bad people don't even see themselves as bad. They see themselves as realists. They believe that if the game is rigged, you either play it smart or you get crushed by it. They don't waste time waiting for fairness. They don't feel guilty for winning. They accept the brutal logic of survival and act accordingly. Meanwhile, the good person, paralyzed by self-doubt, overthinking every move, constantly seeking validation, gets trapped in their own moral web. And the world, indifferent and cold, moves on without them. In evolutionary terms, hesitation is fatal. The animal that pauses to contemplate the ethics of eating its prey is the animal that starves. In human society, the equivalent is watching opportunities slip away because you're too busy questioning whether you deserve them. The uncomfortable reality is that survival favors those who act, not those who contemplate. Success favors those who seize the moment, not those who wait for permission. And the worst part? The longer you wait, the harder it becomes. Momentum matters. Opportunities beget more opportunities. Once someone starts climbing, doors open faster for them. And once you stay stuck at the bottom, you become easier and easier to ignore. Think about the people you admire, the leaders, the innovators, the icons. How many of them got where they are by quietly hoping someone would recognize their goodness? How many of them waited for permission to speak, to create, to lead? Almost none. They demanded attention. They took space. They forced the world to notice. The truth is brutal but liberating. If you want to succeed, you can't play by the rules you wish existed. You have to play by the rules that actually do. You have to understand that results speak louder than intentions, and that in a competitive world, visibility beats virtue. This doesn't mean abandoning your values. It means adapting your strategy. It means understanding that kindness without strength is weakness. It means realizing that patience without action is self-sabotage. It means accepting that to win, you must act with purpose, with boldness, with relentless focus. Because the world rewards those who move, not those who merely mean well. Most people spend their lives waiting for the right time, waiting for someone to give them a chance, waiting for the perfect conditions to act. But bad people, those who succeed, understand that the perfect moment never comes. They create their own opportunities. They force doors open. They don't ask if they deserve success. They decide they do. This mindset shift is powerful. It means recognizing that the world owes you nothing. Not because you're good. Not because you tried hard. Not because you played fair. The universe is indifferent. It rewards movement, action, and strategic aggression. Think about how predators operate in nature. The lion doesn't wait for a polite invitation from the antelope. The hawk doesn't second guess before diving for its prey. Hesitation is death. Speed and decisiveness are survival. And yet, so many good people hesitate. They fear being judged. They fear stepping on toes. They fear appearing too ambitious, too self-promoting, too aggressive. But here's the dark irony. The very qualities that they avoid, confidence, boldness, even a little ruthlessness, are the ones that drive success. You cannot climb a mountain by asking permission from every rock. You climb by planting your foot firmly and moving upward relentlessly. Bad people understand something that most good people miss. Action forgives almost everything. People are willing to overlook your flaws if you are winning. They are willing to forget your mistakes if you deliver results. You can be disliked and still be promoted. You can be controversial and still be admired. You can be ruthless and still be respected. Because in the end, results shout louder than morals whisper. And let's be honest, many of the so-called bad people who succeed are not evil masterminds. They are simply willing to prioritize action over endless reflection. They trust themselves enough to move forward even when the outcome is uncertain. They bet on themselves. Meanwhile, the good-hearted individuals often drown in a sea of doubt. What if I'm not good enough? What if I upset someone? What if I fail and embarrass myself? And while they hesitate, someone else, less talented but far more decisive, grabs the prize. The world isn't waiting for your perfection. It's moving forward at full speed. Either you move with it, or you get left behind, wondering why you were forgotten. Here's the core truth most people refuse to accept. You don't get what you deserve. You get what you demand. You get what you claim. You get what you fight for. And sometimes being too good, too polite, too hesitant becomes the biggest reason for your failure. Because in the brutal game of survival, nice guys don't finish last because they're nice. They finish last because they confuse goodness with effectiveness. And the world, whether it's fair or not, rewards effectiveness every single time. Most people assume that the key to success is talent, intelligence, or hard work. But if that were true, every brilliant mind would be rich, every honest worker would be a leader, and every kind person would be celebrated. Reality tells a different story. The real differentiator between those who succeed and those who are forgotten is something less glamorous but far more powerful. Psychological advantage. Bad people, whether consciously or instinctively, possess certain psychological traits that give them a serious edge in any competitive environment. They are not paralyzed by fear of failure. They are not haunted by the need to be liked. They are not shackled by endless self-doubt. Instead, they operate with boldness, with clarity, with ruthless decisiveness. They know that every hesitation is an opportunity lost. They understand that every moment spent second-guessing is a moment someone else is using to move ahead. In the game of survival, speed matters, certainty matters, action matters. And bad people, because they are less burdened by internal resistance, move with incredible speed. When a decision needs to be made, they make it. When a risk presents itself, they take it. When an opportunity appears, they seize it without hesitation. Compare this to the good person, the one who second-guesses every move. What if I fail? What if I hurt someone? What if I'm not ready yet? By the time they muster the courage to act, the window of opportunity has closed, and it's already too late. The world doesn't wait. It doesn't pause for your internal debates. It rewards the one who moves first. Another huge psychological advantage ruthless people have is emotional resilience. They don't collapse under pressure. They don't fall apart when they're criticized. They don't let rejection define them. Instead of seeing failure as a personal attack, they see it as part of the process. A stepping stone, not a graveyard. Meanwhile, good people often take failure personally. They internalize every rejection, every setback, every harsh word. They retreat, they doubt, they slow down. But success is reserved for those who can endure blows and keep moving forward. Think of it like this. Success is not a straight line. It's a battlefield. And the person who wins is rarely the most talented. It's the one who can survive the most hits without giving up. Bad people aren't immune to pain. They just refuse to let it stop them. Their resilience combined with their decisiveness creates a snowball effect. They take more risks. They make more moves. They accumulate more wins. And each small win builds confidence, momentum, and a reputation that opens even more doors. Good people, stuck in cycles of fear and self-doubt, rarely build that momentum. They wait for perfect certainty before they act, and perfect certainty never comes. So they stay stuck, invisible, frustrated, watching from the sidelines as the bold, good or bad, take over the world. And here's the brutal truth. The world respects winners, not warriors. Being good is noble, but being good without strategy is like bringing a butter knife to a gunfight. It's not just ineffective, it's dangerous. The modern world is a complex battlefield of influence, perception, competition, and power dynamics. Simply having good intentions is not enough to navigate it successfully. Good people often believe that if they stay honest, stay humble, stay patient, the universe will eventually balance things out for them. But the universe isn't a moral accountant. It doesn't keep track of your good deeds. It doesn't owe you fairness. Instead, the universe rewards those who understand how to move within its brutal system. Those who realize that morality must be paired with strategy, because without it, your goodness becomes invisible. Imagine trying to cross an ocean with the best, most beautiful boat, but no sail, no oars, and no engine. You sit there drifting, hoping the current will somehow carry you to your destination. Meanwhile, someone with an ugly, poorly built boat, but a powerful engine, races past you, leaving you behind. It's not the quality of the boat that matters most. It's how well you use it. The same applies to goodness. Goodness alone doesn't move you forward. It must be combined with power, strategy, and action. Bad people succeed because they understand systems. They understand human psychology. They understand how to pull the right levers at the right time. They know that being bold, being seen, being strategic matters more than quietly hoping that someone, somewhere, will reward them for their silent virtue. Meanwhile, good people often sabotage themselves without even realizing it. They hesitate to promote their own work because it feels selfish. They shy away from asking for raises because it feels greedy. They avoid standing up for themselves because it feels rude. And every time they choose silence over assertiveness, they lose ground. Ground that bad people are more than happy to claim. The truth is, the world is not going to lower its standards of competition because you have a good heart. The battlefield remains the same, regardless of your intentions. You can be a good person and still fight smart. You can have a moral compass and still be bold. You can act with integrity and still refuse to be overlooked, but you must act. Goodness is a tool, not a guarantee. It's only effective when you know how to use it, when you know how to combine it with courage, visibility, and relentless drive. Otherwise, your goodness becomes like a whisper in a hurricane, pure, beautiful, and completely drowned out by the noise of those who know how to scream louder and act faster. And that is the painful truth many good people never want to hear. They cling to the idea that being nice is enough, and in doing so, they slowly fade into the background of a world that never even noticed they were there. If you've made it this far, you already know more than most people ever will. You understand that goodness alone doesn't guarantee success. You see now that the world doesn't reward who you are. It rewards what you do and what you can prove. But knowing this doesn't mean you have to become ruthless. It doesn't mean you have to abandon your values. It simply means you must pair your goodness with strength, your kindness with courage, your honesty with strategy. The key is not to become like the worst of those who win. The key is to outsmart them by being both good and powerful. Be the person who acts while others hesitate. Be the person who moves forward even when the path is uncertain. Be the person who combines moral integrity with relentless action, because that's the rarest and most unstoppable force there is. Remember, you can stay true to yourself and still play the game to win. You can be the exception to the rule. Someone who succeeds not because they abandoned their values, but because they learned how to make their values visible powerful, undeniable. The world doesn't change for the good. It changes when the good becomes strong enough to lead it. So stop waiting, stop hesitating, stop hoping for fairness, and start becoming the kind of person who doesn't just survive in a ruthless world, but thrives, shapes it, and ultimately changes it. Because if you don't, someone else will. And chances are they won't be half as good as you are.